I work from home, so I never have to hold my poo, and I'm worried that this is a use it or lose it type of scenario. On the off chance that it is, I've been sporadically holding my poo so that I can proclaim myself master of my bowels. If there's a doctor around, please let me know if this is necessary, because I don't want to do it.
Hey, fun fans, we enjoy the Speed 2 Cruise Control Edition. This is a crazy movie, Eric.
As long as we're not the Speed 2 Cruise Control of podcasts, that's what I think we're okay.
As long as Speed 2 Cruise Control isn't the official movie mascot of this podcast either.
Sure.
It's a bad movie. We are the Mattitude, Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Bad movie? What? Hi, everyone.
Well, yeah, it's not. It's less than ideal. Look, I hadn't seen it since the theater, so that's same. A couple decades, and I was like, hey, maybe I'll go back and find some, some silver linings to it. Maybe it's not as terrible as I remembered it, and it exactly was as terrible as I remembered it.
Yeah, sadly, that is the fact.
How many, so many things went wrong, but we'll talk about that in the main event. Also, how do you make Annie from Speed, played by Sandra Bullock, so charmingly unlikable and boring in the sequel? I don't understand it.
I don't know. It was like, it was like they were trying to sabotage themselves.
It's like they were the bus.
Yes.
That couldn't. I think it was called the bus. They couldn't slow down.
Money to me. Okay.
But that was good. That was a good line.
No, that was a great line.
By a good actor.
Yes. Well, they had good actors in the second one too. But
I know, but the script was so bad that the good actors couldn't even make it better.
That's very true.
I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, and we'll set aside 1 minute to talk about this, Eric.
Sure.
But first, housekeeping. The Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman on Twitter. We Enjoy Podcast on Twitter. On Patreon, you can, for $2 a month, you can get a commercial-free version of this podcast, the patreon.com/We Enjoy Podcast. And you're going to hear some notes from people who wrote into us on Patreon instead of through an email. So if you pay the $2 a month, you have an extra way of contacting us.
Yes, an extra outlet right to us.
A better outlet, one might say. No, it's exactly the same. I wanted to talk about Danny Elfman's Big Mess. I'm fighting so hard because I keep wanting to call his new album Hot Mess.
Yeah,
but it's Big Mess, correct? Big Mess.
I believe you were correct, and it is Big Mess. Yes.
Have you heard it?
Yes, I have. I own it.
I recently spent a lot of time in the car driving out of state on long road trips and listened to this album a lot. Now, a few weeks ago, people might remember me talking about how I was not into at all his remaking of the Oingo Boingo song Insects. I didn't like his new version of it. So I was worried. I was worried about him. I was worried about me and my ability to even appreciate new music from artists I generally like 100% of their catalog. So I was just worried all around. Was this just me getting older? Was this a sign of the decrepitness setting in? But I love Big Mess. I love this. It's not a double album. It just feels long. It's over an hour. But yeah, I super enjoy it. I got to know it quite intimately during these trips. So what say you?
I know I like it. I've only listened to it twice. And I like, it's obviously not, a lot of it's not songs in the typical sense, if you know what I mean. It's like a sort of tapestry, a lot of it,
Well, some are more orchestral and sound like they have mixed in a movie score with it because there's sort of strings in the background. But
right.
There are songs. There are some rock songs.
It's very, but it's a different kind of sound. But no, I like it quite a bit. And there's a couple things that I really like on it. Just like the sort of vibe of it. And now that I know what you meant by you use the initials for Queens of the Stone Age, and I couldn't tell what you were talking about.
Queens of the Stone Age fans know the initials to Queens of the Stone Age.
I am a fan, but apparently not a big enough fan to get their initials.
So for me, especially in a lot of the rock riffs, there's a lot of Queens of the Stone Age that I pick up. There's also some Stone Temple Pilots, but not like their first album core, but like their follow-up albums, which were a little more riff heavy and lighter and more melodic. I think it's the DeLeo brothers who are like the guitarist and bassist who do a majority of the songwriting. Actually, they had that album, when Scott Weiland went to do his own thing and they continued on, but with a different lead singer, and they had an album called Talk Show. So some of the music actually reminds me of that too. But then it's also Elfman, so there's Beatles and Beach Boys and Zeppelin anyway, because of just rock influences anyway.
Right.
I've listened to it a whole bunch. I don't want to bore everyone because a majority of our listeners may only know Danny Elfman primarily through film scores and not as an actual rock musician from the band Oingo Boingo. And Eric and I are both fans of both of his oeuvres of music from both sides of the spectrum. So I just wanted to bring that up because I had it in my notes for the past 2 podcasts.
Do it. No reason you can't.
All right. Let's move on to some news, and nothing huge sort of shaking the pillars this week. It's really just, I guess I'll just bring up quickly that it was that John Lithgow is returning for the Dexter limited series that is coming out, the 10-episode Dexter limited series, reprising his role as Arthur Mitchell, aka the Trinity Killer. And even though nobody has come out and specifically said, except showrunner Clyde Phillips is like, we figured out a way for him to return that makes sense to Dexter. I'm like, there's one way that it can happen. Right. Why not just say that's the way, which is that he's going to talk to him as an imaginary figure in his mind. Like,
no, he's going to go to the TVA and there'll be a variant, and that's how they're going to do it.
I don't know why they just don't come out and say it, and they have to be like, we cracked the code of how to bring any character back who's dead.
Right. Because even if it wasn't that, and they're like, oh, it's a flashback to something we never saw. Like, there's not, it's going to be something we can guess, is one of the things. The interesting thing here is that this is the only person that we know of besides Dexter himself that is coming back.
Because Jennifer Carpenter is not confirmed at all. So,
yeah.
So it's exactly. Everyone's like, if Deb returns, she would have to be the new Harry, meaning the new person he speaks to the most, imaginary style. But now, if she's not coming back and she gave this a big thumbs down, then maybe it is Arthur Mitchell is his
right.
go-to hallucination.
This is such a weird thing because Dexter, so many people were so sour on Dexter by the time it ended. But of course, Lithgow is represents what most people would say is the best season. And also when people would say the last great season, mileage will vary on stuff after, Matt and I both really like 7. And I think we're more defenders of parts of 5 than some are. But I think we joined the consensus that 6 and 8 suck. But 4 is like the last time that everyone was on board for Dexter,
I mean, 8 was not only disappointing because it was just disappointing final season, but because season 7 set it up. Like, man, they teed that up so well, like for a killer final season. And then it just...
Especially because it was a rebound because 6 had been really bad. So...
And then they just diarrheaed the bed all over again. So anyway, Arthur Mitchell's coming back. John Lithgow's great.
He is.
Third Rock from the Sun is fucking delightful.
Hey, oh my God, Matt, you set me up for a story I meant to tell and I forgot to tell. And now here you gave me a perfect, actual, organic way to say, do you know that we can thank John Lithgow for knowing each other?
Wait, you and me?
Yes, this podcast. We could, all our listeners can thank John Lithgow for this podcast existing.
Wait, are we the John Lithgow of podcasts? Because I'll take that over the Speed 2 of podcasts.
We are absolutely. No, my mom, I knew this kind of, but I'd forgotten it. Somehow John Lithgow came up recently. And
Eric,
talking to my mom.
We went to school together. That's how we know each other.
But
did he get you into that school?
He recommended that school to my mom. They did a movie together, and she was telling him we're moving back to New York, and he said there's a school that you should, because I guess his kids had gone there or something, and I don't know, but it was his recommendation.
How did I miss the Lithgow dynasty passing through the halls?
It was his recommendation in Columbia Prep, and so I said, "Oh my gosh, that's really funny."
Wow.
And that's, so there you go. So thank you, Trinity Killer.
Thank you, Dick Solomon,
and podcast listeners, you should thank him too.
And just so you know, we were somewhat close to maybe doing Cliffhanger as the main event next week. We are not doing it.
Still might happen at some point, though.
It's out there. It's out there. These big sort of broad 90s action movies are out there. and especially because we were technically, we have threaded Sandra Bullock in a way with Demolition Man, but we could also just circle back to Sly.
Sure.
Okay, some trailers released. Let's just bring these up. How about we talk about some trailers, Eric?
Two big ones that both debuted Thursday night. So the night after we recorded last week, I had just seen F9 and came out of it, and it was like these two big trailers that debuted while I was in F9. I was seeing everyone's reaction, and of course seeing big reveals via like screen caps. So that's how life works. These days.
All right. So Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has a new trailer, and showed the 10 rings. First of all.
Yes, it did, and they look pretty nifty.
They look like I would want to have 9 or maybe all 10 of those rings. I think I would enjoy that.
A very big reimagining of the Mandarin in the comics, who has finger rings, traditional rings that each were like fire blast and like all did different.
Yeah, one was
stuff.
fire, one was ice, one was poison gas,
yeah.
And
but
then,
here these just seem to be some cool like energy thingies. But we'll see.
We love energy things.
We do.
Then there was a dragon underwater who is supposed to be this kindly protector dragon, and there's even a toy that's like protector dragon. But there is a theory running out there that it's secretly Fin Fang Foom, and I have to fight myself, Eric, to not say Fing Fan Foom. It is Fin Fang Foom. I switched where the G goes there. This is my whole life of almost always saying Fin Fang Foom wrong. So people were actually tweeting at me like, it's this guy. He's not Fin Fang Foom. And I'm like, we'll see. How about that?
You're not a fan of Fin Fang Foom.
You're not part of the Fin Fang fandom. And then there was the cool returning character of Abomination, who
that was a huge surprise.
Not been seen since The Incredible Hulk, but has been referenced in both a Marvel one-shot and on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where sometimes he's just been called Blonsky.
Referenced, but never by Kevin Feige approved content.
Were the one-shots not?
I think those were. they're so tenuous. Like with
Eric, if Trevor Slattery does not show up in Shang-Chi, I'm going to be so upset.
I feel like he will. It seems really weird if he doesn't. But yeah, Abomination, 13 years later, fighting Wong, which Kevin Feige did confirm doing press for Black Widow this week that is Abomination fighting Wong. So kind of just a wild, it seems like some sort of cage fight thing is happening, but how do these two characters get involved? And also just, super fun. It is something where, so it's already been announced that Tim Roth is returning as Abomination in She-Hulk, which was a huge announcement just because it had been so long. I'm wondering if the plan originally was a surprise. They wouldn't have put in if the pandemic didn't happen and these delays didn't happen, that maybe it would have been a surprise. And then they could have followed it up with, and guess what? He's also in She-Hulk. It worked out. I'm not going to get specific for Loki episode 4 for people who haven't seen it yet, but something sort of similar is happening with like someone who we know is coming back in a bigger way
in a movie.
Yeah.
Showed up ahead of time. It's like, because it's like once you get this person, you might as well just
once they're back in the fold, it's like film this too.
Yeah, and they do the rounds. They do right. Where does this character now make sense in other properties, and can we just get as much out of them as we can? No, I get what you're saying too. Actually, Trevor Slattery also made me think of Loki this week, which I won't get into, which is to say, if a certain character was revealed in Loki to have been a drug addicted English actor instead of what the actual reveal was, the fandom would have gone ape shit. They would have torn this place down, but instead they're not. Okay, so then we also have the Halloween Kills trailer that popped up. And
this was the first real trailer after like little glimpses and teases and quick. There was like a 30-second. There was some, there's been these quick things we've seen.
And now we're going to go into our segment, which I like to call, okay, Eric, what were people complaining about this trailer for? Because I only really saw I only ever see the reactions to people about who are complaining. I never see the complaints because I don't read the comments or threads of things.
The big complaint with this, and to me, it wasn't a complaint. It was just like, oh, I wonder, is it showing too much? Because it showed a lot, and it showed what seemed to be some pretty specific kills, or certainly like, I don't think that character's getting out of that moment. So it showed a lot, but I think there is something, yes, some trailers in general showed too much, but I think this year especially, we have to be more forgiving because we are seeing the strange pandemic delay effect. Justin Lin talked about this when they put out the final F9 trailer, which the final being a year after the other one, saying there's more in this trailer than I would have put in normally, but Universal really pushed for it because we're coming out of the pandemic, because you want to just be like, look at this stuff.
Yeah,
so
come
I think
in the theater
of...
and see all the things be big.
right
in front of you. Come and sit in the theater with a lot of people and just enjoy the mass quantities of things you're going to see.
So actually, Shang-Chi with the Abomination and Halloween Kills showing some big moments. I think all these trailers, they have a little bit of that I know we're not out of the pandemic, but coming out of the pandemic effect of all the marketing people saying we got to go like bigger than ever because we really want to draw people back.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't benefit us at all to hold anything back. Like like there's no monetary gain in like playing it close to the vest at this point. Just
go
so
bigger.
And then speaking of that, Eric, Don't Breathe 2.
I just want to say Halloween Kills looks really cool to me.
And it does too. It looks really cool, and it's got a fun Season of the Witch stuff going on it. And also, I am wondering if they're playing the, even though Halloween in 2018 was technically Halloween 2 because it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the original Halloween, is this movie the Halloween 2 to 2018's Halloween, and meaning like the body count is raised significantly, and like in the way that Halloween 2 was originally with the first movie.
I think that's very possible.
We're turned into more of a full slash movie because of the Friday the 13th film.
Yeah, and it feels like they might do echoes of 2, and some people said there's a little bit of echoes of 4 and a little bit of things.
Well, Anthony Michael Hall is Tommy, the third actor now, second grown-up actor to play Tommy Jarvis. And they even have a little Lindsay as a grown-up actress is playing Lindsay. Mm-hmm. And Charles Cyphers is back as Sheriff Brackett. I don't know how old he is, but he's old.
And is it the nurse named Marion?
Yes, Dr. Loomis's nurse is back.
Yeah, who was in 2 and H2O as well. The gang's all back.
The gang is all back.
That's the tagline.
I was gonna say the boys are back in town. The boy is back in town.
That's right.
But what you were talking about, like showing some pretty significant kills. The trailer to Don't Breathe 2 came out. To my shame, I have not seen Don't Breathe. I do like Fede Alvarez. I've heard great things about Don't Breathe. I really like Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead. I also really enjoyed, speaking of me shitting all over your Apple TV Plus recommendations just because I don't have Apple TV Plus, I did watch Calls, which was a pandemic project that Fede Alvarez did for Apple TV Plus. Mm-hmm. I watched the screeners and reviewed it, which is he adapted a French series, and it is basically kind of like a radio play. It's a series of phone calls that tell a story over, 9 or 10 episodes, and it's got some famous people in it, and it's really cool. And it's really creepy. It's very Twilight Zone-y. It's very alien invasion-y and horror movie, and very in line with what Fede usually does. I recommend Calls. It's unique. It's not really a TV show, but it's fun. But so Don't Breathe 2, I swear, like, I get the idea. I don't need to really have seen the first movie to understand this trailer.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. He's a guy. He's a killer. He's a past. He's blind. His name's Norman Nordstrom, like the store. And they're doing a surrogate daughter, Logan, Last of Us, The Hound and Arya type situation. And these bozos are trying to get her, and he unleashes the beast.
Yeah, this is where it's tricky because you haven't seen the first one.
Okay, well, don't tell me. My point is that I swear you see him kill the leader of the gang in this trailer.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
Okay, so that was my point. Is like I think that's like a big kill you see there.
It's hard to get into the discourse around this trailer because you haven't seen the first one, but watch the first one.
Well, also you don't want to get into the discourse because people besides myself who are listening, who may not have seen the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't just protect me, protect us all.
Okay, I'm protecting everyone.
Okay, and then very quickly, you wrote down here that there are some things have started production. Knives Out.
I don't really have anything to say about this.
Yeah, I know.
It seemed like a crazy busy week for notable movies going into production.
Yeah, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever started up. John Wick 4, Aquaman 2, Knives Out 2. They're all started this week.
Yeah, one thing that really leapt out at me on Monday, because Knives Out, Aquaman, and John Wick, we got like now in production, like, you know, they all put out like images of chairs, you know, or whatever stuff or cameras. It was funny with Knives Out and John Wick just because those are both sequels to big hits for Lionsgate. It's just that Knives Out 2 will not be for Lionsgate because Netflix swept in with those Netflix dollars. With their
it's also notable. It doesn't exactly segue us into the main event because the main event is not yet. But the fact that Keanu is starring in John Wick 4.
Oh, yeah.
And then passed on Speed 2. Several reports were just like he made enough money. He didn't need to do a sequel after the first movie. And also didn't like the script. And in doing very little but research for this Speed 2 main event, a lot of people did not like the script. A lot of people who joined this movie did it for other reasons and did not like the script at all. One person just was like, do it anyway. It'll be good for your career. Other people did it so that they could literally fund other movies that they wanted to do more.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it because look, there are movies with terrible scripts that have been big hits, like the Transformers sequels. But they ultimately delivered something in a spectacle way and something that people wanted to see. And Speed 2 didn't, I'm sure it was at the time seemed like, well, I think the script is bad, but it seems like a good career move because people might still pay money to see this shitty movie. But it turned out to not be the case because it was actually a bomb. So, and
then also, look, and we talk about the Transformers movies. Speed 2 was following up a really good movie. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just piling shit on top of itself. It was just like a terrible movie that followed up on a classic action film. Okay. A few write-ins here. Like I mentioned, some people actually wrote in on the Patreon. So Jimin wrote on, or Jaimin, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you do write in quite a bit. So wrote in, after the conversation you guys had at the end of last week's show, I had to write in, I'm one of the few who hadn't seen Speed. But I'm glad I finally did. That movie was awesome. I kept saying, this is actually a great movie during it. Mostly because some older movies don't hit me as well. Speed 2 left much to be imagined. We'll get to that, Jaimin. But it did have some fun callbacks. Keep up the great work. Knee lift and Shakma. Thank you. And Joey writes in also on Patreon. Speed 2 is on HBO Max. Thank God, because if I had to rent this movie for $4, I would have had to have taken you guys to small claims court. I really love the Irish guy in the end. I think he's Scottish. When they are trying to stop the ship, saying it's working, and when they are destroying people's boats. If we could just kill a few more innocent bystanders, we might get it down to 0 knots. A true hero. Then Kyle writes in the old-fashioned way over on email. Kyle from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Matt and Eric, you guys are the best. I cannot stress that enough. That's really nice. Thank you.
That is very nice.
In the spirit of your Fast franchise recap, I had to share this Wikipedia snippet with you that was one of the first entries for the F9 plot summary. I don't know who wrote it, but it feels it's perfect summation of the franchise. Long live your words, sincerely, Kyle. And if I were at all competent, I would have had this email pulled up, but I can get to it very quickly.
While he's talking,
it's actually a screenshot. But yeah,
while I was looking for it, I believe you teased you were going to, but yeah, the old recaps that we did of Fast and Furious 1 through 8 and Hobbs and Shaw are now posted as one special episode if you want to listen. And our F9 special episode will be, we're going to record it this weekend. So we'll
record it in a few days. So look for our F9 add-on to the other ones. One thing I noticed, because the Fast franchise, the Fast Saga was the first thing we did as a franchise movie recaps, and we did it as a lark over on the wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
And so we didn't talk about them as long. We're now kind of almost pushing like 45 minutes to an hour talking about a movie sometimes. And these were like 15 minutes. I was like, this is really short. Because even by the time we got to Saw, which was the last one I sort of compiled together, we were up to like 40 minutes a movie at that point. We were just talking less and less about wrestling as it went on, and that's one of the reasons we shifted over to this podcast. Okay, so here is part of the Wikipedia entry. At one point, Roman Pierce and Tej Parker must fly a car strapped with rocket boosters into space to knock out a satellite. They do not die while doing this. So, sorry. Actually, the subject line for this email were spoilers for F9. So that was spoilers for F9, everybody. Okay, let's see here. Good things to enjoy. You want to start?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I will do. My movie is one that I know you enjoyed because your quote was in the press release emails I was getting, which is Werewolves Within.
Jim emailed it to me. He's like, "You made the pull quote," and I think my quote was like, "It's fun."
Right. Well, you know what? It is fun.
It's like when it was quoted on NXT TV, and it said, "NXT is awesome, Matt Fowl."
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I only do the simplest, straightforward pull quotes.
Right. Werewolves Within, which is now playing in select theaters. Actually, last weekend it was like the biggest small release, which is, I know, a funny thing to say, but the of a movie that was playing in select theaters, it was doing the best. But as of this Friday, July 2nd, it'll also be on VOD. So you have your options on how to see it. It is a horror comedy, which are A, tricky to pull off, and B, very tricky to get people to go see. Even ones I've loved, they often don't end up being hits because I think some people just like their horror-y and not mix in with the comedy. But this
there's so many weird gatekeeping horror purists out there, quote-unquote purists, yeah.
But this is a really funny movie, really fun and funny movie. It is based on a video game, which I have not played.
But very, very
loosely. Yeah.
It's just takes the idea, the whodunit idea and the werewolf idea, but it's not even the same era or time or characters. So yeah.
Yeah. Or universe.
Literally, it's just a movie.
Right. But yeah, it's not the first ever movie to do a murder mystery whodunit, but it's with a werewolf twist. But it's always a fun sort of thing to mix together. And I think that this does it very well. And it's the director, Josh Rubin, did a movie last year called Scare Me, which was on Shudder with Aya Cash from The Boys.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see it, but I remember the trailer.
Okay. I liked that movie, but this, I think, is a huge step up, which is cool. Like when you see like a young sort of director starting out and he does something decent, but then his next thing shows like a big jump. Really love the cast. Sam Richardson, who I think most people will know from Veep, although he was also one of the many actors cast in Promising Young Woman because you like them, and then when she's gonna make you see them be creepy. I never know how.
He's also from Detroiters,
Detroiters, which I always mean to see. By the way, it's been on my list for a while, and then I always feel bad that I mispronounce her name because she even has it on her Twitter bio. How do you say Milana Ventru?
That sounds great.
Sure. But there's a lot of familiar people in this movie. Michaela Watkins is in this movie. Harvey Gillen from What We Do in the Shadows. Really fun, funny cast, and small town up in the snow-swept town where a werewolf is loose, a whodunit. And just really funny movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And there's other things going around about this movie that I completely agree with. Is this is arguably one of, if not the best movie based on a video game. I realize there's this giant curve of the fact that so many are bad. In the last couple of years, we've been like, oh, Detective Pikachu and Sonic were decent because there was so many outwardly terrible ones. But this might be my favorite. Again, it doesn't, very loosely based on a game, but it is a movie based on a game, and it's really good. Like I said,
but it also might have, it may have solved the equation here, which is like adapt as little of the game as possible. Right, and that's how you make the best movie based on a video game. Yeah,
just do your own thing. Like I said, you can watch it on VOD as of this weekend. Although I will say I've seen it twice now, and both times it was a really good audience movie. Because both times I saw it like a special early screening, but then I just saw it with a paying audience, and our audiences was really into it. and just kind of clicking with it and laughing a lot. So if you can see it in the theater, I'd say it'd be a fun experience. But if you can't, I get it. You can watch it on VOD as well. Werewolves Within.
So per her Twitter, it's pronounced Milana Weintraub.
Thank you.
And you know, to the layperson who maybe have not seen some of the more niche things she's been in, she is the AT&T girl.
Yeah, for many years.
Many years.
She
long-running
back.
promotional.
She stopped. She wasn't doing it, and then they brought her back.
All right. My good thing to enjoy this week is also a hilarious ensemble that takes place in a small town. It's called Green Room.
Green Room's great. Green Room is great.
The laugh riot, the hilarious parade that is Green Room. No, it is not funny. Green Room is actually written and directed by a guy I went to film school with named Jeremy Saulnier, and he was in a few of my classes. He was part of a New Jersey clique of dudes who are kind of crazy and irreverent and made silly projects. They all knew each other, and they all came from like the same like area, location, county, or town in Jersey. And they all started in each other's shit. Anyway, Jeremy Saulnier made this great, very unlike the stuff he was. I'm not saying that he didn't make great stuff in film school, but the stuff in film school was a little kookier and zanier. This is a very gritty, sort of grimy thriller that's one of Anton Yelchin's last performances.
Yeah.
And maybe his last big performance outside of Star Trek 3. But he was sort of the starring character in this, and it's about
right, because Thoroughbreds is the last thing he filmed, but he's a supporting character in that.
Right, and he's more of the main person in this.
Yeah,
but it's him, it's Imogen Poots, it's Aaliyah Shawkat, and then also surprisingly Patrick Stewart. So if you want to see Patrick Stewart play the leader of a Pacific Northwest group of white supremacist militia assholes, and this is the film for you. And it's about a DIY punk band who's literally going from gig to gig along the California coast, or I should say the West Coast, because I don't think they're in California. They're in the Pacific Northwest, and they are, they're just all about the music, and they don't get paid a lot, and they just crash at people's places, and they're like, and you know, a gig falls through, but someone they know gets them a gig at basically a bar in the middle of nowhere in sort of a remote forested area. And they quickly realize when they get there that it's a Nazi bar. It's just sort of a white supremacist bar. And they're like, fuck it, we'll play this gig anyway. They even play Nazi Skinheads Must Die, like to open it. And it's a fun moment. But anyway, they witness a murder, and then it basically becomes them trying to get out of this bar club alive, where a lot of the film they're trapped in the green room. They've barricaded themselves in that room, and it's them having to get past like Nazi assholes and their dogs and just like survive the night. And it's very good.
It's great. I love that movie. That's like actually a really good. I wouldn't say underrated a bit.
Is it horror? It's a horror movie.
It's very John Carpentery when he didn't do explicit horror, but he was doing like, you know, Assault on Precinct 13 or any of those movies that are these sort of intense, like The Purge is horror-ish, you know.
The Purge is horror. It's just
so Green Room is great, really cool, like intense vibe. But it's our darkly funny and sardonic. That's a really cool. I don't want to say underrated because people who see it really dig it, but I think underseen.
Underseen. That's the thing is like I did Dr. Sleep last week, which I don't know anybody who did not like that movie. It was just underseen based on how big it was as a studio movie. But yeah. Okay.
Only thing before we move on, I forgot to mention when I was mentioning Worlds Within is I did not mean to have this synergy, but I realized 2 weeks in a row, because I did Mythic Quest last week, I was mentioning Ubisoft Productions because Ubisoft is, you know, one of the producers of Worlds Within because it's based on their game, but they also were one of the main producers on Mythic Quest because that show needed a video game for it graphically. So Ubisoft is involved. So I guess kudos to Ubisoft because their turn into production has gone very well for them. Certainly for the Eric Goldman enjoying aspect of their.
I will say that I need to add that you can watch Green Room if you have Showtime subscription editions to certain things. Like if you have Showtime, you can watch it sort of either on like the Showtime add-ons, probably to like Amazon and stuff like that, or with a DirecTV subscription, you can watch it too. Other than that, it's rentable at all the renty places. And but from Ubisoft to UB40, we're going to switch over to Speed 2, where the
next week's assignment though, don't forget.
Oh yeah, next week. So next week, originally we do have another mini franchise planned after the Speed franchise, but we're not doing it yet. We're going to split it up by a week. So next week will be a one-off, and we're going to do Alex Proyas's Dark City. Starring Rufus Sewell and Jennifer Connelly and Kiefer Sutherland. And that score.
I like that score. What can I say?
And where can people see it? Do we know?
It's not currently on a streaming service, but you can rent and buy it anywhere you can rent or buy digital movies. So,
all right, so Joey on Patreon, we are asking people to pay to rent this. It is not on HBO Max like Speed 2 was, but we believe it is significantly better and higher quality than Speed 2.
Yes.
It is just a really crazy, kooky, interesting sci-fi noir movie.
Yep.
Right. It's like sci-fi noir. Right. Yep. So that I think
let's
also
not say too much because I think this will be a cool discovery for some people who
But I did like that we actually did get somebody to watch Speed who had never seen it. Speed is a hit, so it's harder to find people. Obviously, as years go on and people younger generations come up, they won't have seen old movies, but Speed was a blockbuster, so it's harder to find people who missed that. So yeah, the house band on this ship, UB40,
one of the songs they do is a song that they did for Sliver a few years before, which is funny.
Oh, is that their Sliver song?
Yeah, I Can't Stop Falling in Love with You.
That's right. Yeah. That was their Sliver song.
Yep, their cover.
We should do Sliver because I've never seen Sliver.
I haven't seen Sliver since the theater, so I'd be curious to revisit it.
All right. I mean, as far as we
better than Speed 2.
Okay, well, that's all you need to sell me on anything anymore. Eric, I mentioned this at the top. Not only is this movie bad, and we'll go through all the myriad ways and various ways it's bad.
Sure.
They somehow made Annie unlikable. Like, I don't understand how you do that. My first theory is the first time you see Annie in this movie, and we can backtrack to the credits or whatever and just talk about other things, but the first time you see Annie in this movie, it was a joke in the first movie that she didn't have a license because she got because of speeding tickets.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between that and turning into her like fucking Mr. Magoo. Like,
right.
He's Frank Drebin out there on the roads.
If she was like that, then they would have all died in the first movie.
Yeah, she can drive. She drove that bus the whole movie. Right. It doesn't make any sense. And she was a caring, fun individual who at least she broke into tears when she thought she killed a baby. But like here, she doesn't care she's causing property damage. She doesn't care she caused a huge accident. Like,
she also doesn't care when there's like something clearly bad happening on the boat. They don't know it's like crazy Willem Dafoe, but something bad is causing the boat to shake, and she's just like, ugh.
And she's like, we're evacuating for this? Yeah,
right.
Like, I don't know. Frank, Sandra Bullock's charisma can get her pretty far with a bad role.
Right.
But Annie is not likable in this movie.
Nope.
Not at all.
And especially, it's just, it's so disappointing coming off the first because she's not just likable, but the first one makes it for a lot of the movie like a two-hander because, like we said, she's not just the love interest. She's like a very active participant in the entire scenario of the movie because she's the one driving that bus. And here, they don't come up with anything interesting for her to do, particularly on the boat. To
be fair, Eric, they don't come up with anything interesting for anyone to do on the boat.
Right. Well, that's
like all of this. This is some of the most expensively boring action I've ever seen. With like so many, like I had to watch Willem Dafoe program so many different fucking computers that I didn't care about. I don't know what he's doing. His whole plan takes 90 steps. It's also boring. Was this PG-13?
Yeah, I believe both of them are.
I mean, I'm not somebody who's like, everything needs to be rated R and gritty and I need to see boobs, but like, it's another thing where yeah, coming off Speed, maybe you want to hear a fuck or two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, I think you're right. I think the first one is R.
The first one's R. So the first one's definitely R. I just wanted, like, I don't know, the completionist in me, somebody who just wants sort of a tonal sameness. This one felt sillier. This one felt lighter and sillier. And I don't need a high body count, but it is noticeable when the intensity doesn't match the first movie.
Yeah, and it's just it's definitely sillier. And again, like, you know, anything can be fine if you do it right. So making it purposely like a little more comedic, whatever. If you make Thor Ragnarok, great. If you make Speed 2, no. Got it. Because I was even like, you know, here's the thing: is like they didn't bring, you know, obviously Keanu's the glaring absence, but also you know, Graham Yost didn't come back and Joss Whedon didn't come back. Was it Mark Gordon, the producer, didn't come back?
He didn't come back. Jan de Bont came back because he was contractually obligated to do so.
Well, that's the thing. It's same director though. And some other people behind the scenes are the same. And I was like, even the composer, because it's once more Mark Mancina, and I don't like most of the score, which is wacky and adding all this like kookiness and trying to add, because it's a cruise, it's like a Caribbean flavor, and it doesn't work.
So you have so many checks in the against column for this movie, and then they go and spend reportedly over $100 million on this movie, 110 to $160 million. Who knows where it lands actually in that spectrum? That is so much money for 1997, even
but also the first was 30 million. So they spent more, you know, because I also read, I think, you know, we don't know the exact,
3 times as much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't know the exact budget, but it was at least 90 million. And so they spent, you know, over 3 times as much for way, you know, less quality. Yes, you can tell this is an expensive movie. Like, you can tell they spent a lot of money on it.
And we all know that filming on water and those types of situations is way more expensive.
They built a town to destroy at the end, you know, for a long sequence.
3 knots. I'll say this. I saw this movie in the theater with a bunch of friends from NYU, and we all hated it. But for years, a running joke was screaming out in a Scottish accent some knots.
Yeah.
3 knots, 12 knots. Like it because it's done so intensely and supposed to be like the makers of the movie was like, yeah, everyone's gonna really be invested in it going down.
How many knots? Yeah. No, that was the same joke for us, Matt. Because I was gonna confirm with you. You just confirmed it. I was like, I'm 99% sure you and I didn't see this together because you hadn't moved back out to LA yet. You moved out like weeks later. But this movie I saw at the Chinese main screen, and with a bunch of people, you know, with Brent and Adam and maybe Jonah and then a bunch of other, because this is right with a bunch of.
I hope Jonah was yelling "shut up" at the screen when he was going 10 knots. Yeah.
But for a bunch of like Emerson people, not Jonah, obviously, because he grew up in LA, but a bunch of them, this was their first time at the Chinese. So what a disappointing like movie as like the first time in the Chinese. But we all did the knots thing. And it was funny because our friend Adam he doesn't use Twitter a lot, but I guess he's a lurker, because when I tweeted out I was watching this movie last night, he tweeted to me like, is this the one that has like the 7 knots like there or whatever? I was like, yes, it is the movie with the knots, because I guess that's the one memorable thing about it. It seared itself into my psyche. It's the one moment that was living within me from this film. The rest of it was mostly was unmemorable. No, same here. I did laugh a lot when he falls over, so he's like laying on the ground, but he's still like 2 knots. Like,
and then at the end, I know we're gonna be all over the place. So we'll just tell you. Then at the end, when he says 0 twice. He's like 0 knots, and then he's like 0. Oh God. And okay, so she's Frank Drebin. She's killing people on the road. She's unlikable. Here's a question for you, Eric. There were a lot of actors that they were considering to be Keanu Reeves' replacement when he decided not to do this movie.
Yeah.
I wonder if they ever decided to recast the role of Jack. Originally, the story was going to be Keanu Reeves came back. He was playing Jack. They were married and they would get on this boat, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's like they don't have Keanu. I wonder if a better movie could have been salvaged from this wreckage if they had just cast Jason Patrick, maybe, or any of the other people they were considering. John Bon Jovi was one of them, whatever. as Jack, like recast Jack instead of making a completely new character.
It
I
would
wonder
have
if it
helped.
would have. I think it would have maybe at least a little bit helped people reinvest in something.
No, it would have helped because you have this huge burden of him. Keanu doesn't come back. So now we have to, accept that the couple we spent like the whole first movie, like them both. They're great together. And the end of the movie, they got together. And now we have to open this movie and just say it didn't work out. They broke up. Though they kind of like are shitty to Jack with the
they throw him
like,
under the bus. They throw him under the bus, and
he wasn't romantic. He gave her pepper spray.
I do not. I
don't believe that for a second.
He gave her pepper spray as a present. That's bullshit. Right. I'm saying it right now.
It was a total bullshit. It wasn't as bad as what they do to Megan Fox in Transformers 3, but it was still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like you do not besmirch Jack Traven.
Yeah, Jack Traven did. Yeah, he did not do all that to be besmirched.
And the fact that like also neither of them had dated. Like in this movie, she and Alex are celebrating, I believe, the 7-month anniversary because neither of them, as at their age, had dated anybody longer than that. So that includes Jack.
Right.
Like she dated Jack for only like 5 months or something. Yeah, and then she's shitty to him, killing an absolute stranger, Tim Conway, playing the driving instructor.
Yes.
All about how terrible Jack was as a boyfriend. Anyway, you can obviously tell watching this movie, Keanu says he's not going to do it, so they rewrite it, but they keep it basically the same. They just change these specifics. Like you said, it's like, okay, it's a new boyfriend. They're not going on a cruise as a married couple, but that's such an uphill thing because now you have to like have people who cared about the two of them in the first one, like just accept, no, fuck him. There's this new guy. If they didn't do what you're saying, which is just say someone new is playing Jack, just go with it. Just have her not be in a couple with anyone. If you want to have like the hunky action guy, have her go on the cruise either by herself or with a friend, and then there can be someone else on the boat. Yeah, it would be a retread, but yeah, just do the same thing. Have her fall for somebody new, like whatever.
Yeah.
If you needed to have a romantic partner, yeah.
Is also really bizarre to me. Look, I understand it's a sequel, and anytime you do a sequel to something like this, like starting with Die Hard, that is how can the same shit happen to the same guy or same woman twice?
And she makes several references to that most of which wound up in the trailer.
But I think it's weird. She makes references, but wouldn't it still seem weird to me especially because she is not a cop. She's not an FBI agent. It does seem like this should be more explicit, especially because in real life, she would have been part of a huge story. Like, that this happened and everything that happened in that first movie, which was all over the news. We saw it happen. So it's just strange to me that they make little veiled references to it without it ever being like, holy shit, like either someone recognizing her or her just bringing up
your bus girl. Yeah.
yeah, that she is the bus girl.
All right, so Sandra Bullock, who didn't like the script but used her money did the movie so she could get financial backing for Hope Floats.
Yes.
He asked Matthew McConaughey, her old good friend and former boyfriend, to do this movie, and he was like, nope, script sucks. Again, this is a recurring theme in this people turning this movie down. Then Jason Patrick also did not like the script, but she really wanted him because she liked the previous movie he was in. I believe it was After Dark, My Sweet. Patrick used his money to finance 1998's Your Friends and Neighbors. So again, everything got paid forward into other movies. Hope Floats was actually a hit, I think.
This also shows you, though, by the way, because we have moved beyond the right now there are not movie stars in the same way there were 20 something years ago when this movie happened. It's the properties are not that there aren't stars, but it's the properties that sell first and foremost. The MCU sells before, and there's you could talk about like Chris Hemsworth doesn't have huge hits outside of the MCU. So it was interesting to me to read the salaries on this movie because they're so high.
So talk about overpaying. Like, is this like, were they Netflix back before Netflix existed?
They were. I think this was just the studio system at the
time. Talk about this bloated budget. Like we see a lot of it on the screen with the explosions in the town they built and the ship and the water stunts and stuff like that. But Jason Patrick guaranteed never made a fraction of this for any of his previous movies.
No.
Never. And we love him in other movies, like Lost
He's
Boys,
a really good actor, but this is an insane salary to pay him.
He got anywhere from $5 to $8 million for Speed 2. No wonder he financed a whole fucking movie a year.
Right.
Like this is ridiculous. Like, yeah, I would do this too. Like if he's used to being paid at most, maybe, I don't know, $500,000 for a movie or something like that.
Yeah, here's $5 million. All right.
And now he's getting $5 million for this janky ass sequel. Then he's gonna do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock, a legit huge movie star at this point, but I was just like, wow, she made like 11 to 13 million. It just struck me because Scarlett Johansson got her first $15 million payday for Black Widow. And, Marvel notoriously was very buy Holly. And again, I understand everyone listening, these people make astronomical money that we can never think of. But it's just interesting to note that in 1997, these studios were kind of throwing out these huge salaries where like Marvel, who's very frugal, like she finally, after 11 years and all this stuff, got Speed 2 money. I
know people made a big to-do about Jack Nicholson getting a ton of money for Batman because he got points on the movie. But the 90s is when Jim Carrey was straight up making upfront $20 million.
But yeah, 1996, I was going to say, the year before this, Cable Guy, he was the first actor to ever make 20 million. So that's just the era this movie was made in, was like the studio, like big stars. Sandra Bullock was one that I guess they hoped Jason Patrick would be, which he never, and which sounds like a little bit of him. This movie stands out because it's one of the only times he did even tried to do, because after Lost Boys, there was a lot of buzz around him, but he seemed to really reject doing.
Totally. By the way, Jason Patrick is very fun as the villain in The Losers.
Yeah, which is one of the only other times he did anything remotely mainstream with a bunch of future Marvel people.
So, and to Bullock's credit, she has been the highest paid actress in Hollywood several different years, 2010, 2013. I know people don't think of Gravity as a Sandra Bullock movie, even though she's primarily in it by herself, but that movie almost made $1 billion. So
yeah.
Okay. Back to Speed 2. Yeah. So there's a what if floating out there of like, what if Jason Patrick actually was just playing Jack and not this new cop who also works for Mac, basically works in the same department Jack did, maybe knows Jack, who knows?
Right.
Alex.
Because we don't know where Jack is. Yeah.
Probably met Annie through Jack. Like, who knows what happened here? The whole movie starts with, the first shot is of an obvious stunt double, which is, I think, a bad way to start a movie, which is Alex jumping out on his motorcycle, a huge action sequence for, we don't know why. At the end, it was stolen computers, but he's chasing a truck. It's very different from the opening of Speed, where we know what's going on. Yeah. They're called to a scene. Alex is going above and beyond to catch some just thieves. They're stealing Dells. I don't know what's happening. It's not like they have like, they're like drug dealers or like there's human trafficking going on. Just somebody like robbed a Sam Goody. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So, but then it's in a movie that's already going to have a huge coincidence happen, which is like Annie getting into another giant disastrous predicament. They get her and Alex together, like they literally meet on
Mulholland. Happen to run into each other.
They're like the chase. I don't know what driver's test takes you to fucking Mulholland.
Right.
It's crazy.
Sorry for that. Sorry for the LA specific reference there, guys, but it seems highly unlikely.
Look, it's a giant windy mountainous road with cliff. She even mentions the cliffs on one side. Like, I can't pull over. There's a cliff.
Right.
You do not take a student driver up there. Okay.
Nope.
So, and then, okay, here's the other layer of this movie. Actually, they address it. It's actually a huge part of the movie, is that they don't know each other that well.
Right.
And they've been dating for 7 months. To be fair, though, the way that they are portrayed in this movie, she catches him in a lie. He's not like a cop walking the beat down on the boardwalk at a beach, like feeding seagulls. He's basically Jack.
Her whole thing is like, oh no, you're secretly a daredevil, like Jack was.
It's crazy. Okay, so he has been lying to her, which is terrible. But also, it feels like they've been dating for 2 weeks. It doesn't feel like they've been dating for 7 months in this movie. It feels like they've been dating for 2 weeks, because they really don't know each other.
Right.
Like
right.
there's been no talk of kids. But then also to make everything weirder and more complicated.
I assume more, would you ever want to have kids? Not should you and I have kids together?
Right. Like,
yeah.
But there's so much that they need. I don't even think these two know each other's middle names. I don't think they know anything about each other. And he's about to propose to her.
Oh, but she does have the line, "You never said you were on the Suicide Squad," which I think was very.
He's like, "Look,
line.
we're dying to be heroes. We're dying to save the world." All right, so
Speed Squad.
He should date Harley Quinn, honestly.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure.
He's gonna propose to her. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. They don't know each other. It's also a terrible idea at the end of this movie.
Yeah,
because they don't know anything more about each other than when they got on that boat. They just went through some shit together.
Right. They had a very.
They didn't learn anything new.
Right. Right.
This whole movie is filled.
It's true because we saw Annie, even though and they bring back the line about relationships under intense situations. But the thing in the first movie is that you can be like again under heightened crazy movie circumstances that Jack and Annie bond over this crazy situation. But in this movie, they're separated for a lot of it, and since they don't seem to know each other that well, you could argue they're no more bonded by the end of this, except for the intense situation.
Right,
There's
Annie and Alex aren't together a lot during this crisis. He's usually off doing something else. Like they work together during a very boring, elaborate lifeboat rescue scene.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, none of this is exciting. It's just not. And
that's the thing, the big thing. I mean, that's a crazy thing. Again, Jan de Bont came back to direct, and I talked about how the diminishing returns with him as a director, unfortunately, because he started so strong with Speed. This is the year after Twister, though, which I don't love, but delivers as a spectacle movie. Like it delivers the set pieces. So this is just such a dud as far as like no excitement, like again, you're seeing huge things happen. The biggest example, of course, is the end of the movie, which goes on forever. And I'm like, yes, I'm seeing a giant set they created destroyed, but I do not care. In no way am I like, this is amazing, this is impressive, because there's just nothing to actually pull you in or make you excited by it.
He hasn't directed a movie in 18 years, Eric.
No, I know. Tomb Raider 2. He did some press last year. I think there was like a new Blu-ray or something for The Haunting, and he kind of talked about kind of deciding not to direct after Tomb Raider 2, which I guess was a really terrible experience for a million reasons or whatever.
That's fine. Okay. The Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider 2-pack is not our next Tomb movie franchise.
It is not.
Just so you know. Okay. Everyone's doing terrible things in this movie, making terrible decisions. And then you start to feel, and then, he also, I don't know. This is a borderline bad idea. The springing of the cruise on her, which is weird because what if she's busy? Right.
Right.
You have to ask time off for work.
It wasn't even a month. It was like next week, like immediately.
Yeah. He's like, we're, your bags are packed, right? We're leaving. And I'm like, what? Okay. He's like, I can go now because I closed this computer theft case. So, and he's going to propose to her. They don't know each other. But to the movie's credit, it does lean into the fact that they're kind of awkward with each other. They don't know how to act around each other, which is something that you can work with, but the movie doesn't work with it because then everything explodes and then it's never brought up again. They're just fine. And then it just looks like she's about to make the same mistake she apparently made at the end of Speed. You feel the strain when they're getting on the boat of like, we need to have the kooky ensemble like the bus people in the first movie.
Right.
So everyone's like, my name's Dante. Dante's my name. Remember the name Dante? And the other guy's like, remember me. I'm Ashton. Ashton the bellhop. Ashton is my name. They're just like, you're going to learn everyone's name and they're all going to be memorable. And then also, I think what happens is that the boat gets evacuated, except for these specific people. Like every one of these people.
Some are trapped in the corridor and some are on the one boat that can't get away. So conveniently, all the people that they talk to the most are the ones who stay on the boat.
And you feel it straining to emulate the ensemble bus people that worked in the first movie. Not without some strain. There were some weird lines in that. Like not everyone was exactly likable, but when everyone was panicked and going like making that jump, you felt for them,
Yes, and you felt like they went through something together.
Exactly. Then you've got Kimmy, Twin Peaks' Kimmy Robertson here.
As the cruise director.
You've got UB40, who I guess escaped. It'd be great if they were trapped with him the whole time too.
He died. And then the recognizable couple is Colleen Camp and Mike Haggerty. He's just character actor number 54. He's been in so many sitcoms and stuff. Distinctive with a sort of big burly look and his mustache.
Yeah,
Colleen
yeah,
Camp,
exactly. Friends, Seinfeld, everything. So
Colleen Camp was in some of the Police Academy movies and Valley Girl and Clue. Kind of a big 80s mainstay, but she's been in a million things.
So we've got we've got not just the trying to repeat the ensemble, the round table of victims from the first movie, but we've got kind of a carbon copy villain, another crazy guy who got fired,
who got wronged by after doing good work, got wronged. Yeah.
And this is his big revenge. I guess, Eric, in the end, he was trying to steal those jewels, right? I think maybe.
I think so.
Like it was like he was going to destroy things, definitely, but also he was stealing these jewels.
The thing that also sticks out so much to me, having not seen this movie since the theater, is because I liked in the moment when you meet Dafoe, I was like, oh, he's not doing a Dafoe villain thing, because of course Willem Dafoe is a great actor and can underplay when he wants to. It's just he's usually cast as crazy over the top villains. I shouldn't say usually, in these big movies he is, but when we meet him, he's supposed to be very innocuous, except for the fact that he's trying to get his golf clubs back. He's just a guy in a blue polo. He's got long shimmering hair, and he's acting very normal for a Willem Dafoe action movie character. So I thought, oh, actually, I like that he's doing it different here. So which made it so much funny when he was like full Green Goblin formula, maniacal, insane.
Well, the leeches make him crazy, Eric.
But that is a big switch that gets flipped to like maniacal laugh through the glass and just bug-eyed.
Dennis Hopper, Willem Dafoe, both great actors who can lead a movie, but mostly are character actors. A lot of times play villains, but just great line readers. But this villain is written so poorly, and his lines are so bad. Not just his lines, the throwaway, you felt like nobody went over the script again. It was one pass and nobody punched anything up in the script. Like all of the jokes aren't funny. Like things people just say. He literally says to Annie at the end when she gets taken hostage again, which you shouldn't do, but they did it with Mary Jane 3 times. So whatever. He's like, she escapes and he's like, no, stay with me. You're my hostage. That's a line, Eric. That's a line that he says. And Willem Dafoe isn't good enough, as great as he is, to make these lines better.
No, it's just like as charismatic and likable and good an actor Sandra Bullock is. She can't save the way they write Annie in this movie.
Yeah. But you could argue that there were some silly things that Dennis Hopper had to say, but he made it work. Willem Dafoe couldn't make anything work here.
And the character, felt like a fully formed, quirky character. Like we talked about how Whedon purposely wrote him quirky, then Hopper brought it into a Hopper level. That really worked. But here it's just let's copy what happened last time and get another great villainous character actor, but nothing for him to play except for just have Willem Dafoe be crazy Willem Dafoe.
She fires a flare gun and he's like, "You've got a fiery temper." I don't know. That actually does sound like something the Green Goblin would say.
He does refer to the leeches. What is his? Wake up, boys.
Well, to be fair, yes, he does have leeches. Dennis Hopper's character.
That's the other thing I remembered about this movie was 7 knots, the knots countdown, and the leeches.
7 knots for 7 leeches.
That's right. That's the alternate title. Better. By the way, we haven't talked even about again. There's so much wrong with this movie. Starting with the boat, would that even work? But the title Speed 2 Cruise Control, which is a pun because they're on a cruise, but also, as everyone pointed out, speed on a boat is counterproductive on a cruise, not like a racing boat. I'm like, I understand branding wise why they're like, it has to be called Speed 2, but this is a sequel. If they were going to set it on a cruise line, it should not even be called Speed 2. Like, just have a different title, whatever, especially when Keanu didn't come back. But
the first movie literally involved a bus, and you could see the speed, like you
Right.
see the rate, you see it like it's a speed we can understand. Driving on the freeway, we understand how fast this bus is going. We can sort of put ourselves in that movie in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if the boat is going fast for a boat.
Right,
like that the cruise liner is going fast as it can, and it's going to smash into a city. It does not look fast. And so when it's far away from that oil tanker and they're like, oh, in 30 minutes we're going to hit that, because it won't, that thing can't move in 30 minutes.
Right.
Tanker, they put their foot on the gas right now, won't move out of the way in 30 minutes. That's not fast. Like that, it's fast for the boat, but not for moviegoers. Right. And they do kill people at the end of this, don't they? People go under the boat when they're crashing through things. There's a guy in a mini car who looks like he specifically gets crushed as it goes through the streets of that town.
Very likely. Oh, by the way,
but then it's played for comedy, is my point. Like it's the couple's having sex, and here's a dog, and here's a guy, a slovenly guy out of a 7-Eleven or whatever,
with a fancy car, so he must deserve something terrible to happen.
Well, that's true. Eat the rich.
As we're leaping around, by the way, let's leap back to, because we didn't talk, because we were talking about like the most prominent of the characters is Drew, the 14-year-old deaf girl, and her parents, because
her dad.
What'd you say?
Her dad. He's like, you look like a clown.
Which is bizarre. There's a few things I want to say about Drew and everything that happens with her, but I also want to say, as we're talking about people dying, one or two people die on that when they're trying to get on the escape boat, and but then the cruise line starts moving, and so it's precarious, and Drew's mother's freaking out. I get it. She doesn't know where her daughter is.
She kills people. Yeah.
But Alex says, don't do that. You're gonna, you can't move. But she keeps moving. A couple people fall off and die. And her husband's like, it's not your fault. And I'm like, yes, it is. You were responsible for those people's deaths.
Look, in the grand scheme of things, it's Geiger's fault.
Sure. But in that moment, you didn't listen to the guy.
Yeah, it was definitely her fault. You're right.
The other thing about Drew is, it's just funny.
She looks like a clown.
She looks like is that they arguably form a better bond between her and Alex, and she gets to be more of an action hero at some points.
She rescued herself from the elevator.
She does an amazing way of getting out of the elevator that I'm like, is she a gymnast? Like, what is going on here? The way she gets out of the elevator by pushing her entire body stretched and climbing up upside down. She doesn't even do it. Like, it's very impressive, but not explained. Then Alex finds her, and there's a part where they're both like climbing together. And I'm like, why is she doing these things about Annie? It's so strange that
it's totally age inappropriate, but like if Alex is willing to wait, 10-15 years for Drew,
right.
Like I was more invested in that
I'm saying that putting aside the creepy side of it, there's just any kind of bond is forged more with them in the middle of this movie than Annie and Alex, who are separated in the middle of this movie and didn't seem to even have a real connection at the beginning.
I was just so taken aback by a father screaming at his hearing impaired daughter, "You look like a clown."
Yeah. There's a lot of questionable stuff.
And then her mom's a murderer. So yeah, it makes sense.
Her mom's a murderer. Then they have a wacky part with some of the other the people who are trapped in the corridor also take their clothes off to try to stop gas from going out. Everything is pushed to its most wacky.
There's like Willem Dafoe opens up 90 different computer screens to hack into 70 different things, and it's 100% boring. And he starts fires and closes doors, and I don't know where anyone is.
Oh, and he has a power glove.
He has a power glove that he can control the door. He's like, but then it's like, how do we stop the boat? Well, we got to do X, Y, and Z with the propeller. It's like, oh, well, that didn't work. Well, now we got to turn the knob, and it's like, it's all so mind numbing and looks really expensive and wet, but it's so unexciting that I don't know what to think about any of it. And again, we already said that like Alex and Annie are apart for so much of it. And then what happens is like when she gets taken hostage again, which is another huge
she teams up with Dante for a while.
Yeah, who's taking pictures of her with a
photographer
with the chainsaw. But she gets taken hostage and she vanishes for 15 minutes because Alex has to be on the boat with everyone else as it crashes into that town. Then after it crashes, he's like, I got to get my girl. Fortunately, she's not far at that point, even though she's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
It also was so weird that the heroes didn't, I understand they can't. You can't get out in front of a boat and like put your hands up and like stop. They're just all on the boat as it crashes into the town and as it slows down. Like that's it. They can't do anything. They're so passive at the end as it's destroying the town and just screaming out knots. And the only thing that's stopping the boat is the town. So he's not saving anything. Like all they're trying to do is just like roll around the bridge as it crashes into things.
Yeah.
They're just there.
Right. It's so weird. And also, look, I said how the first one, it has an interesting thing because it has a double conclusion because them getting off the bus is kind of like what the whole movie's been leading towards. But then we still have to stop Hopper. So there's a subway sequence. And I said last week how, the subway sequence, I've always felt like I could do with the movie without it, but it's still really good. And like you and I talked about how they have a great moment there where it's like a very like, he's going to stay with her and it actually works dramatically in the middle of a movie where we're pretty sure they're both going to survive, but it's still played really real. And it's a great moment. This movie has multiple endings that we don't let, none of them work. They all go on forever and they're all in the same vicinity. Whereas the subway thing is a whole new thing, but it's all just right around that bay, like right around that same area. And they're just keep going and the Defoe tries to escape in the plane and crash. And just, there's just, he's on a jet ski at one point. Yeah. I was like, oh no, he's on a jet ski. Okay.
I chuckled when his plane blows up. Of course he does an insane cackle.
Right.
But the plane causes the entire tanker to explode. Like the massive explosion that Alex and Annie can't even be bothered to look at. They don't care about it. They don't care that an entire tanker just exploded the fuck behind them. Like they are so nonplussed about it that it's insane. Oh, and Maurice is back. So Glenn Plummer is back.
the big returning character.
And the trailers gave this away. But yeah, like
because
even bigger than Mac, who is only in this very briefly.
And uncredited cameo, but Glenn Plummer returns as Maurice. Who is funny because when I was looking at the credits of the first movie, I'm like, we don't hear his name Maurice, and then I realized, it comes from the second movie. That's why, it lists as Maurice is because the second movie gives him a it's not even I thought it was like a tiny cameo, but he's actually part of a big action. Again, I use action loosely in this movie, but he's part of a big sequence at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Instead of the beginning of the movie, he comes in at the end and helps Alex catch,
which again,
speedboat.
Loose, like they again, like Annie's references, he does a like, what, this can't be happening. That in the original script, if it had been Jack, it would have been like, you again.
But like, there is. I felt like there was something funny where literally he's
cursed.
He's in the Caribbean and like a guy's like LAPD.
That is funny because it's not Jack. The fact that it's a different Daredevil. He too is cursed with Daredevil cops like Annie.
So Maurice is the equivalent. So right now we're doubling down on coincidences and we're trying to find somebody from the first film to bring back in a funny way.
Yeah.
We're like, it's like coincidenceception, and he is the equivalent in speed of William Atherton also being on the plane in Die Hard 2.
Right.
Like,
which would have been the easier thing, by the way, is just because it is,
it's him on the cruise.
Yeah. Or anyone from the first, like anyone from the bus on the cruise, or to have it be Maurice. Yeah. But instead,
they just crashed the boat into a town he just bought a condo in.
But also his vehicle needs to be commandeered again. So it's like it's just going for the most specific coincidence, not even that he's around for it. Because if he was on the boat, that would be a crazy coincidence, but it'd be using him in a totally different way. And instead, it's the exact once again, our Daredevil cop needs a vehicle in the moment. And there's Maurice. If the Speed franchise had continued, what vehicle would he have had? A helicopter? What would he have had for Annie's next 4-letter boyfriend from Daredevil Cop to need?
I don't have faith in anyone in this town in these movies finding anybody. They give pepper spray as gifts. They don't know anybody. They propose after like lying to somebody for 7 months. It's all nuts. All right. For some reason I thought in my head, I had no reason to think this. It just was like that Willem Dafoe somehow survived this. But so yeah, I think that was also why I chuckled at the tanker exploding, because in my head I was like, oh, I think he just gets knocked out in this. But no, he dies in a massive explosion.
His leeches could come back for revenge.
Oh, Return of the Leeches. That would be amazing.
And they're like Swarm, the Spider-Man villain, and they form like a giant leech man.
Oh, but it's also like a Candyman situation where it's an actual dude, but he opens up his like shirt, his leeches, and it's like made of leeches.
Really good stuff.
It's like half Candyman, half Oogie Boogie. Speaking of Danny Elfman's music. Okay. Let's see. I think we hit the main things here. Everyone,
I can bullet point a couple things from the end. I'll just mention there's some something that plagues a lot of movies of the mid 90s, which is but in this movie, look, again, as we said, they spent a lot of money and it's a lot of practical effects. There's a few random bad CG shots of the mid 90s, like an anchor going down. It's like very brief because like there's this huge town they built and destroyed, but then once in a while it kind of throws me because it's like cartoon looking anchor. And then the closing credits were funny for 2 reasons. One, because the trailer showed the credit scene, like the mid-credit scene.
They did, yeah.
Was the opening of the trailer just because they wanted to connect with the bus gag. Although the trailer is also funny because I rewatched it because Sandra Bullock only came back and like you and I said, she became a huge star and they still went forward without Keanu. But it's funny that the trailer's like, a lot's changed for Annie since we last saw her. So it's like really, but again, if this movie actually gave her more to do or more better stuff to do, that'd be different. And then the other thing I thought was funny, because like I said, I thought this score was way weaker than the first one. They bring back the cool speed theme, but I thought the closing credits had another great 1997 thing. Great is just amusing, which is a techno version of the speed theme play.
It's terrible. And we just went through this with Event Horizon. Yeah.
Yes. The random mid to late 90s techno.
Guaranteed to stand the test of time. The 1997 EMD techno closing credit music. Yeah, like just do the same theme.
Right.
Do anything that we liked from the first movie as much as you can. Like, don't change it. Don't fix it when it ain't broke.
Yeah, they broke a lot here. And also, yeah, this was a big bomb. As we said, it cost way more than the first one, made less. And also, again, because there are shitty movies that make a lot of money, this was not one of them. It was very poorly received. And it's 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
wow.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's like they couldn't find one, like if we're talking about the Transformers movies making money, they couldn't find one redeeming aspect to sort of poke out of here. They couldn't even make great action.
Right.
Like, and if the action was bad, they couldn't even like bring back a likable character and keep them likable. So it's like they had all these things they could have, like just one of these things would have maybe made this movie a bigger hit. But they failed on like in every category. So triple fart minus.
Yeah. An epic failure, go big or go home. They went big with their failure. Amusingly has often pointed out, strangely, 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, but this movie got 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. It's just
really?
Funny, they both
was it the techno music?
It was the techno music. They both liked it. Because Siskel sadly died a couple years after this movie, but Ebert, who lived much longer, would have had a sense of humor because he knew he would talk about how he knows he's one of the only people like Speed 2. I think he had a quote about, I like this. I like Speed 2 more than Sandra Bullock does because she has talked about how terrible it was. You referenced this last week that Sandra Bullock in an interview said, I feel so bad because I convinced my friend Jason Patrick to do this movie. And
now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, like she asked him to do this movie that they both knew had a bad script.
Yeah.
Maybe, they could have made chicken salad out of chicken shit in the end. They didn't. But you know what? He has her to thank for getting $8 million.
right. $5 to $8 million that he used to finance a movie.
$7.5 million more than he ever got for a movie.
right.
Like,
yeah.
So she shouldn't have to apologize too much. She got him a huge payday.
That's true. That's very true.
All right. So that was Speed 2, Cruise Control, Hardy Har.
Which killed the franchise.
May it rot in hell.
One day, it'll get some sort of reboot. And yeah, again, it's just funny that Keanu, he done Bill and Ted 2, but then that was it for him in sequels until Matrix. But again, it's also this is my one last thought. I keep saying that, but it is just funny because Keanu's had, as we mentioned last week, a lot of ups and downs in his career. And so he didn't really capitalize on Speed's success. Johnny Mnemonic followed up, Chain Reaction followed up. So he was not, he wasn't making great choices.
No. And, if you look at Bullock too, like she had hits, but she had misses too. Way more than you would expect because, there's a huge double standard. And as far as like women are allowed to have one bomb or aren't allowed to have any bombs and then they never work again. But she had, While You Were Sleeping in the Net, which were both big hits, but then like 2F by C and the one with like 28 Days where she was an alcoholic and The Force of Nature with Ben Affleck. These were all bombs. And so she was up and down until Miss Congeniality gave her another career boost in the aughts. And then she had, again, more ups and downs. So she's always been up and down, but she did win an Oscar eventually.
And then
she got that gold.
Yep. And then, Keanu obviously turned this down, which at the time people were saying, is he crazy to turn this down? Then the movie came out and he looked like a very smart person. And then 2 years later, The Matrix came out and he had his next, I say surprise in quotes, because he keeps having the surprise action, and very well received, action role for him. So it all worked out.
All right. We should make a running list at some point of great movies with the biggest quality gaps between the first and the second, as far as like the sequel. Like this is one of the biggest examples of like just a complete plummet as far as quality. All right. Thanks for going on the Speed 2 journey with us. I hope it wasn't as painful as it may seem like when we were describing the film.
I'm interjecting just to say it's usually you get the one good sequel and then the third one is where, but this one just was like, nope, sorry, immediately.
Yeah, so bad. Okay. Dark City is next week. Watch it if you can. I think you'll super dig it. And everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.
Shakma.
Shakma!